Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I am Tanya Cook, Chairperson of the Metropolitan Utilities District Board of Directors, and I'd like to welcome you all to the committee meetings this morning, January 3rd, 2024. This meeting is being live streamed from the boardroom at the M.U.D headquarters building located at 7350 World Communications Drive, and a recording of this meeting will be uploaded to the M.U.D website after the meeting's conclusion. I'd like to invite our Vice President of Safety and Security, Shane Hunter, to provide a briefing regarding protocol for all individuals in attendance at the board meeting today in the event of an emergency. Morning.
Good morning. Shane Hunter, Vice President of Safety, Security, Business Continuity. As everyone noted, we are at the first floor of M.U.D headquarters this morning, and normal entry and exit is through the back of the room, but there is another exit here on the right side of this room. It's outside of that door that we'll find the closest first aid kit and fire extinguisher, and a little further down on our right, and we'll find the nearest AED. With the closest AED location in mind, can I have a show of hands who is CPR and AED trained in the room? Very good. If there should be a medical emergency in this room today, 911 will be called by the security staff. We'll then escort EMS personnel into the space. If we need to leave this room for any reason to leave the building, we'll go through the same door, take 2 left turns, and exit the building where we'll reconvene for accountability. That concludes the safety briefing.
Thank you. Roll call.
McGowan. McGowan.
Here, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Howard.
Here.
Kavanaugh.
Here.
Begley.
Here.
Cook.
Here.
Friend.
Here.
Sidzik.
Here.
I would like to advise all those in attendance that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available on the wall in the back of the boardroom. Employees and retirees, we're going to talk about Community Giving Drive recap. Employees and retirees participated in the district's annual Community Giving Drive last fall. The fundraising drive allows donors the option to designate their funds to the district's Utility Assistant Program, the Home Fund, and/or the United Way of the Midlands, or other local nonprofit agencies. For the first time since 2019, an employee committee was created to plan and coordinate various events. The committee, co-chaired by Mike Hall and Bill Sargent, participated in a volunteer activity benefiting the Intercultural Senior Center. Committee members also visited various department and safety meetings to discuss the importance of giving back to our community. The drive was capped off with a visit from the Pancake Man at our headquarters and construction center. All told, our employees and retirees donated more than $108,000, with a record $73,700 benefiting M.U.D's Home Fund. On behalf of the board and our customer owners, I'd like to thank all employees who participated in the drive and recognize the committee. Please come forward as your name is called. Excuse me. I better talk into the microphone. Anna Bennett, Information Technology, okay? Kat Brousseau, Customer Service. Erica Colbert, Safety and Security. Mike Hall, Field Services. Trent Hastings, Construction. Mike McAleese, Human Resources. William Sargent, Plant Engineering. Okay. Megan Walter, Business Development. Megan. Nate Williams, Plant Engineering. Okay, let's give them a round of applause. We're going to do a quick photo with you and them. All right. Okay, so we're going to do a photo op
Yep.
real quick. Yeah, it says right there. All right. Construction and Operations. Vice President of Engineering, Masania, will now review the proposed capital expenditures.
Good morning, Masania, Vice President of the Engineering Department. This morning I'll be covering the capital expenditures letter behind tab 6. This includes 7 annual authorization requests, similar to what's been presented in previous January committee meetings. These annual authorizations provide a high-level overview of what will be completed this year. There's lots of work behind preparing these estimates and the letter, so I want to acknowledge all the employees that helped out with that effort. Also recognizing that there's a lot of detailed work ahead, including individual designs, plans, or bids that will occur throughout 2024 to ensure the district is making the most effective use of these funds. In addition to the annual authorizations, there are also 4 projects in the letter requesting board's approval under buildings, plants, and equipment, and 2 under system improvements. I'd like to start by highlighting 4 of the annual authorization requests and then get into 3 of the building, plants, and equipments. Starting at the top of page 1, this request is for $13,017,490 for the annual blanket authorization to reconnect or replace water services in 2024. This year's request is an increase of $6,197,043 over the budgeted amount in 2023. The primary reason for this increase is due to the start of the district's lead service replacement program, which includes an estimated 784 services to be replaced for $6,460,160. As Mr. Myers provided in last month's budget presentation, lead replacement will be primarily funded through the state's Drinking Water Revolving Fund, also known as the DWSRF, as well as the state lead service cash fund. The DWSRF includes funding to verify unknown water service materials that might be lead, and this is included in the request. Projects using these funds will be bid throughout 2024, targeting areas with more infants and children and areas with higher concentrations of lead services. These will also be coordinated with the City of Omaha's resurfacing programs. We will be communicating with customers prior to work beginning and throughout the project as well. Water services associated with infrastructure replacement or relocation project is expected to decrease slightly, around 3 to 4%, due to more pipe bursting main replacement work happening in 2024. Next, I'd like to highlight the annual authorization number 4 at the top of page 2. This request is for $25,132,000 to replace 17 miles of high-risk water mains in 2024. This is an increase of 1 mile over the 2023 goal of 16 miles. The district's infrastructure replacement program continues to seeking improvements and researching the most effective material and efficient construction methods. This included expanding the use of high-density polyethylene pipe, water pipe installed by both M.U.D crews and our contract partners in 2023 on main replacement projects. More of this is to be evaluated in 2024 as efficiencies were experienced using HDPE or high-density polyethylene pipe for pipe bursting projects last year. Also, the district engineering and operation teams continue to evaluate the benefits of condition assessment technologies on higher risk distribution mains. The mileage goals increase to 6 miles from 4 miles last year. Bless you. The increased mileage of mitigating risk of our water system is needed, and this is another step in that direction to effectively manage our water main breaks for a 3,100-mile water system and to turn the curve on the increasing annual water main break counts. Next, I'd like to highlight the annual authorization number 5, also on page 2. This request is for $17,220,000 for the installation of gas mains to abandon 38 miles of cast iron gas mains in 2024. We are coming down slightly from the peak of gas main replacement of 40 miles a year as we finish the replacement program, this phase of the replacement program, with the remaining 110 miles of cast iron gas mains in the system, and our goal is still in place to replace all these mains by the end of 2027. Slowing the replacement rate is planned to systematically abandon the remaining cast iron mains to maintain safety and reliability for those customers still on our low pressure gas system. Also, the last of the mains will be more costly to replace per mile because they are larger in diameter and will be replaced with larger diameter plastic mains as well. This is a reason for a roughly $4.4 million increase over the budgeted amount in 2023. The slowdown will also benefit the district as we work closely with PHMSA, the federal government overseeing the natural gas distribution and transmission mains, where we received the $10 million grant last year. There's been a lot of hard work by many employees at the district, especially in the accounting, the engineering, and the procurement teams to better understand the nuances of the federal grant requirements. The last item I'd like to highlight in the annual authorization section is number 7 on page 3. This request is for $18,794,100 for the replacement and addition of approximately 40 construction machines and equipment and 150 vehicles for upfitting in 2024. The request also includes vehicles and equipment ordered in 2022 and 2023 that will be received in 2024, as longer than normal lead times continue to impact us. The district's transportation team manages the district's fleet, continues to manage the district's fleet to ensure the lowest life cycle cost. As mentioned in the letter, the replacements and additions will be authorized by management before work commences with the board's approval of the proposed bid recommendations per our purchasing procedures. I'll stop here for any questions on the annual authorizations included in the letter before moving on to the 3 projects I'll highlight in the buildings, plants, and equipment.
I have one quick question. I assume, and I think for sure, that all these amounts were included in the budget and reviewed and approved last month?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Moving on page 3, listed as number 1 under buildings, plants, and equipment, is project number GP 2866 for $172,100 for the LNG tank inspection services. Do have a picture here to share of the equipment. This is requested for integrity inspection of the LNG tank at the liquefied natural gas plant at 117th and Ford. The tank was constructed in 1975, and while the district has performed thermal inspections of the tank over the years, this would be the first integrity inspection on this aging infrastructure. The inspection services would be provided by Gecko Robotics using an innovative robot that scales the exterior of the tank to perform the phased array ultrasonic testing to detect wall thickness, corrosion, and weld integrity on the shell, roof, and steel base plate. So that picture on the left you're seeing is it scaling. It has some high-strength magnets on the wheels that help it scale the side of the tank there as it captures data on the tank. Similar to the technology used for our concrete main assessment just recently down Harrison Street from 48th Street to 78th, but this technology is used on tanks. Additionally, Gecko will utilize drones to perform thermal image inspection of the tank to check the internal insulation while using 3D LiDAR to check for any deflections on the tank shell. LiDAR being light detection and ranging, essentially similar to radar using radio waves or sonar using sound waves. This can pick up a lot more granularity with the survey method here. Work would be proposed for May or June, pending approval. It is anticipated that the full inspection process will take 7 days to complete, and any reported defects would be gathered and evaluated for repair. So with the 7-day inspection, about 1 week, this is a very efficient inspection method versus prior methods where they didn't have the robot and it would take up to 5 weeks to do this work. The last items I'd like to highlight are the 2 projects at the Platte South Water Production Facility listed as numbers 3 and 4 in the Buildings, Plant, and Equipment section. Both can be found on page 4 and continuing on to page 5. Project numbers WP 2052 and 2060 are part of the capital investments identified as critical to ensuring the facility is able to meet long-term system demands in the capital improvement plan, or CIP, for the Platte South project that was completed in 2022. You may recall a presentation made to the board at the July 2022 board meeting outlining these projects and providing a high-level overview of the CIP work. Project number WP 2052 for $7,666,000 is for the procurement of new emergency power generators, switchgear, and transformers as part of the new electrical building construction project as part of the approved budget. You can see that in the lower, towards the bottom of the picture there, labeled as the new electrical building. This project was identified as a high priority capital project in the CIP due to the critical nature of the improvements to the overall plant operations and to reduce risk of electrical disruptions during future CIP work. The new electrical building project includes the installation of a new 2-service electrical distribution system with associated switchgear to increase electrical reliability and replacing and upsizing the original 1968 emergency power generators and construction of an electrical building to house the electrical equipment being installed in this and future projects. This request is for procurement of generators and switchgears needed to complete the work due to the long lead times and to meet the project schedule. The request for the installation of the equipment and construction of the electrical building will be brought for approval as a separate request following its own bidding process. The overall project is anticipated to be completed in the second quarter of 2026. The second item listed for Platte South, located towards the bottom of page 4, is project number WP 2060 and is for $6,405,000. This includes the administration building addition and also the site entrance and security improvements, which were identified as a high priority project in the CIP. The administration building addition will allow for the current administrative offices to be utilized for future projects identified in the CIP. The administration building addition includes construction of a wing at the entrance of the building, accessibility improvements to the existing building, renovation of the men's locker room, and also an addition of a women's locker room. The site entrance and security improvements as part of this project include security improvements to the site entrance and perimeter. This includes addition of a guard shack and site security fences. This request is for the construction phase of the administrative building and site entrance improvements and is anticipated to be completed in the second quarter of 2025. That is all I plan to speak to on the capital expenditures letter, and would be glad to try and answer any questions. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Interim Director of Plant Engineering, Adam Gardner, will review the acceptance of contracts and payment of final estimates.
Good morning, Adam Gartner, Interim Director of Plant Engineering. There are 3 projects on this month's finals letter, 2 water development projects and 1 water IR project. I was going to highlight just a couple of them. First is item B. This is a water IR project with Murphy Pipeline. Jay, could you go ahead and share the project area there? I am sharing a picture of the project area. It is located just northeast of 90th and Q Street, the Mockingbird area. This was a contracted pipe bursting project and was the last of 3 projects completed in 2023 with Murphy Pipeline. This was quite a large project. We did replace just over 2 miles of cast iron water main. This project was ranked very high in our system risk model. The little gray dots there in the image are historical water main breaks. There were a total of 104 water main breaks in this specific project area. I was also going to mention that district construction crews did complete a parallel main abandonment project on 90th and Q Streets, or just outside of the project area. Combined between the 2 projects, we did mitigate risk of over 3 miles of water main in our system. This was certainly a significant investment in the community, and completing both projects can currently minimize disruption to the area. There was 1 change order for this project that I will discuss in a following agenda item, so approval of the final is contingent upon approval of the change order. I was also going to highlight quickly the last item on the letter. This is item C, water development project with Cedar Construction as the contractor. There was about a 12% increase in the contract amount due to a change order. I will discuss that change order in one of the following agenda items. Any questions on the finals letter before I roll through the change orders? All right, moving on to tab 8. This is change order number 1 for Murphy Pipeline Company, our water IR project WP 1857 on the finals letter. The project area did have a very large storm sewer running through the neighborhood and represented a couple challenges to the project. We did know about several existing offsets with the water main under the storm sewer, but unfortunately we did find 1 location where the existing water main was actually much deeper than expected under a storm sewer junction box. We did have to switch installation methods to directionally drill in the new main, so the change order includes the extra cost to do this work. It is a relatively small increase of about 1.8% in the contract amount. Certainly pipe bursting remains an effective tool to mitigate risk in this system. Moving on to tab 9, this is change order number 1 with Cedar Construction on water development project WP 1905. This project was bid in May of 2022. District bids require contractors to hold their bid prices for 9 months. In this case, the developer did not sign the main extension agreement until June of 2023, which was outside of the 9-month period required to hold bid prices. In this instance, the developer agreed to the additional 12% increases in cost for labor and material, rather than electing to rebid this project.
What was the delay in the signing? Just educate me on, because that doesn't happen all the time, does it?
No.
Do you know?
Mark, can I phone a friend, I guess, in this case?
Good morning, Mark Mendenhall, Senior Vice President, General Counsel. I would describe the delay in pricing as efforts. So the developer is, my understanding, based out of Lincoln and Echo Park, and that individual has more familiarity with the city of Lincoln processes and not as much familiarity with district requirements, district processes. So Mr. Kim, especially Mr. Kim and myself, ended up having multiple discussions with the developer regarding various issues related to the contract, to various requirements, costs, all sorts of things like that. And I would say prolonged the process. So,
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Thanks for your report, Adam. And this isn't a question, just a request. Some of you may remember from last year, I had requested that a report be provided to the board in the first quarter of the year, and I'll make the same request this year for change orders from 2023, just to give us an update on what the change orders were, what the amounts were, just so we have that to keep in perspective. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Vice President of Procurement and Enterprise Services, John Zellers, will now review the bids on materials and contracts.
All right, good morning. John Zellers, Vice President, Procurement and Enterprise Services. Bids on materials and contracts may be found under tab 10. There are only a few items that I plan to discuss this morning, and the first may be found on page 1. This is where we're requesting ratification for the Minnelusa pump station repairs at Florence. We have started the process of entering into contract with the low bidder, D.R. Anderson, in order to expedite the administrative process so that repairs may begin as soon as possible in order to be completed by high pumpage. D.R. Anderson has successfully performed work for the district in the past, and other references provided positive feedback. The next two items may be found at the bottom of page 1. The first is for a 3-year software and hardware support agreement for our Cisco network equipment. Included in this agreement, future purchases of Cisco products will be made through the awardee, as they will be the preferred provider, in which they will receive the best pricing through Cisco for our network needs. The second is for a 3-year Microsoft licensing and support agreement. The low bid for each is recommended, and the fees will be paid annually through the 3-year period. Yes?
Hi.
Hi.
I didn't catch your eye earlier, but I wanted to ask you when you referred to the Florence Minnelusa pumping station flood repairs, that, just so I understand, that was for the incident that occurred in possibly August where
That is correct.
A piece of equipment ran into the pipe and caused extensive damage and flooding.
That is correct. That is for the repairs for that incident.
Is that coming along now? Is that operative? And I don't know, what's the status of it?
I will need to
Sorry, I'll shout
probably refer to Matt, or who can help me out on that one?
I don't mean to slow us down, you were really rolling along there, but I think it's good to have a little more detail on that project.
Sure. So Matt Hammond, Vice President of Water Operations. You're right that this project is related to the incident that happened back in July. And so this is for the installation of the new equipment, replacement equipment, platforms, et cetera, that go along with it. Where it's coming along, the equipment has been ordered. Some of it is in hand. Structural steel is in hand. We're waiting for the balance of the variable frequency drives for the pumps, and those are coming later in this first quarter anticipated.
But I take it that things are operable, that things at the Florence plant are operating as they should in spite of the repairs?
So the repairs are still, or the work is still ongoing. The header, the piping project is still, that's still ongoing. It's going to be completed in the next couple months.
Okay.
Matt, maybe to rephrase Gwen's question.
Sure.
What is our operational capacity at Florence right now as compared to when the incident occurred in
Good
the
clarification, thank you.
So right now, the Florence facility is at a reduced capacity of, a reduction of 80 to 85% reduced capacity. Thus the impetus of moving these things along as quickly as possible prior to when pumping season starts, or when higher demands start to pick up.
Okay.
And do we anticipate that as we approach the spring and summer, that capacity will get back close to as normal as it was prior to the incident?
Yeah, the team is working extremely hard to incrementally be able to bring that back up in time for that demand pickup.
Welcome to M.U.D, man.
Thank you for the information. That was really helpful. A number of people have asked me about that. You know, they, of course, heard about the break, but they didn't know where the repairs were, the progress that's being made, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Mark Doyle, President, Directors Howard and Begley. We'll keep you posted. Obviously, we were in a time where we were going to move forward with this project anyway, and the area in question was on the docket for about a month later. Kind of changed everything we were doing. So we're taking advantage of the, the wintertime, fall, and we're moving forward. But we'll give updates as we approach spring. And the good news is spring will be here before we know it. And winter is helping us out quite a bit right now with everything we're doing, with the weather being the way it is.
Yeah, we are
So
fortunate to have
we
this
are.
mild weather right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, but thanks. That's
Thanks, Mark.
top of mind.
I have a question. Is this, part of this going to be under our insurance or under who did what to whom?
This is where
And-
General Counsel stands up.
Yes. Once again, our special guest. I'm just curious. Thank you.
You bet. Again, Mark Mendenhall, General Counsel. So we do have a claim filed with our carriers. We are working with the subrogation company. The subrogation company's hired an electrical engineer. That engineer's worked with our staff. They've reviewed the D.R. Anderson bid. So our intention is to recoup all of the costs, including this, through the insurance policy. Yes. Yep.
Good. Thank you.
I have a quick question for John Zellers. I'm sorry, were you finished, John?
I have one more item, but I would be happy to answer any questions you have right now.
Okay, John, on those two support renewals under IT, you said they're 3 years. Like the first one, $414,000. Is that a one-time payment for all 3 years, or do you spread that over the 3 years?
We spread that over the 3 years, so divide that by 3.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, so that would be $138,000 annually for the Cisco, and then roughly $315,000 for the Microsoft annually.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, the last item may be found near the bottom of page 2. We are recommending the second low bid for the 4 dump trucks, as the low bidder didn't provide a bid for stainless steel dump box, which will provide superior corrosion resistance and maximum durability during the life of the trucks. And that's all I was going to discuss this morning, but would be happy to answer any further questions, or try to. All right, thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, personnel. Vice President of Human Resources, Bonnie Savine, will now review employee wage and/or salary increases and ratifications.
Good morning. Bonnie Savine, Vice President, Human Resources. I will give a quick recap here of employee counts, and we'll start with December of 2022. On December 31st of 2022, we had 867 regular full-time employees and 3 regular part-time employees. That gave us a total of 870. To end this December, we had 888 regular full-time employees and 5 regular part-time, for a total of 893 regular employees. In addition to that, we had 12 temporary part-time employees. That's comprised of 2 temporary part-time and 10 interns. So we continue to see a good group of interns. A review of jobs actively in various stages of the job placement process includes 6 jobs that currently have a requisition routing through a review and approval process. We have 7 jobs that are posted now. You can see several of those are external, and they are listed there on the screen, thanks to Mr. Roberts. We only have 1 that is internal only. So 3 external only and 3 that are both internally and externally. That gives you the 6 that you see on the screen. We have 3 jobs that are going through the application review and interview process, and then we also have 5 jobs with 5 selected candidates. They are going through onboarding and will be joining us in the next few weeks. Behind tab 11, you will find the wage and/or salary increases and ratifications letter. Human Resources is recommending the Board of Directors approve wage or salary increases for 8 employees this month. We have 4 OAC employees receiving wage increases due to a promotion. We have 3 OAC employees receiving a wage increase for a natural progression promotion within their job family, and we have 1 SPA employee that is receiving a promotion, so their salary will increase as is listed in the letter. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any members of the public in attendance today who would like to address the board? Do any board members have any further comments? Okay, this meeting has now concluded. We will reconvene for the regular board meeting in 10 minutes. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'm Tanya Cook, chairperson of the Metropolitan Utilities District Board of Directors for the next few minutes, and I'd like to welcome you all to the regular board meeting this morning, January 3rd, 2024. This meeting is being live streamed from the boardroom at the M.U.D headquarters building, located at 7350 World Communications Drive, and a recording of this meeting will be uploaded to the M.U.D website after the meeting's conclusion. Roll call.
McGowan.
Here. Here.
Howard.
Here.
Kavanaugh.
Here.
Begley.
Here.
Cook.
Here.
Friend.
Here.
Sidzik.
Here.
I'd like to advise all those in attendance that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available on the wall in the back of the boardroom. Pledge of Allegiance. And now for those who wish to participate, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes for the committee meetings and regular board meeting for December 6, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
Sidzik.
Yes.
Okay. We will now take up the election of the new board chairperson and vice chairperson. Do we have a motion to nominate a new chairperson?
It's my privilege and pleasure to nominate Jim Begley for chair for our next session.
Second.
Wonderful.
All right. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
Sidzik.
Yes.
All right.
Chairperson Cook,
Yes.
I'd just like to thank you for your hard work this past year. I think you conducted the board meetings very well and efficiently, and we appreciate your hard work.
Thank you. That's very kind.
I'd second it if it was a motion, but it's not.
Thank you. That's very kind. All right. It says, pass the gavel from the former chair to the new chair. Do we want to see a picture of this?
Over the head.
There you go. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. All right. We don't need to switch physical chairs right now. All right. We will now take up the election. Oh, yes. See how that power, it was so hard. It's hard to let go. Signing off.
If you'd like, Tanya, I'd be glad to grant you that.
Oh, I got to get used to it.
Well, Tanya, like Mike said, thank you for your wonderful leadership this past year. It was a tumultuous year, many things happening within the district, and you led us with great class and grace. Thank you. And we will now take up election for the board vice chairperson. Do we have a motion to nominate a new vice chairperson?
I'd like to nominate Dave Friend as vice chairman for this year.
Is there a second for Mr. Friend?
I'll second that.
Discussion? Roll call.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
Sidzik.
Yes.
Mr. Friend, Mr. Vice Chair, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all.
And I appreciate the confidence of the board in voting me as the chair for 2024. And before we go any further, to our esteemed, most recent chair, Director Cook, on behalf of our customer owners, fellow M.U.D board members, and employees, we'd like to thank you for your leadership serving as our board chair this past year. Please accept this plaque as a token of our appreciation.
Oh.
Did I already ruin the the covering for and got my
That's
grimy
okay.
hands on.
It's still
so.
very utilitarian. Thank you. For other folks who haven't seen it, it looks kind of marbly. Thank you. And thank you for your support. Fantastic learning experience, and the board is so supportive in very tangible ways since it was my first time being chair. So thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Unless anybody has any further comments, we'll move on with our regular board meeting. Agenda item 6, capital expenditures. Director Friend.
Thank you. This item was also discussed in committee, and I need to pull up the document so that I can see where it came from. If you would just give me a second, I apologize. Also, this, like I said, discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Andy Melville dated December 28th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
McGowan,
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Friend,
Yes.
Sidzik,
Yes.
Item 7, Director Friend.
Thank you. Item 7 was also discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Adam Gartner dated December 18th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
McGowan,
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Begley,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Friend,
Sorry, yes.
Sidzik,
Yes.
Dave, go ahead and take 8, 9, and 10 if you'd like.
Sure, thank you. Item number 8, change order number 1, pipe bursting. Also discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Adam Gartner dated December 13th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
McGowan,
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Begley,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Friend,
Yes.
Sidzik,
Yes.
Item number 9, change order number 1 for water main installations in Echo Park. Also discussed in committee. Move approval as outlined in the memo from Adam Gartner dated December 12th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
McGowan,
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Begley,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Friend,
Yes.
Sidzik,
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 10, bids on materials and contracts during the month of December 2023, discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Sherry Lightfoot dated December 22nd.
Second. Discussion? Roll call.
McGowan,
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Begley,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Friend,
Yes.
Sidzik,
Yes.
Item number 11, wage and/or salary increases and ratifications. I move for approval of this item as discussed in committee this morning and outlined in Ms. Savine's memo dated December 22nd, 2023.
Second.
Is there discussion? Roll call.
McGowan,
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Begley,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Friend,
Yes.
Sidzik,
Yes.
Agenda item number 12, appointment of committees. The appointment of committee memberships was already addressed earlier in the committee meetings, or did we discuss it?
No.
We did not. I believe we have the same committee assignments as we did last year, though.
Yes.
Any objections from my colleagues on the board?
No.
All right, no vote is necessary, so we'll move on to the next agenda item. Item number 13, other matters of business, of district business for discussion. Jim Knight will speak to the weather forecast and the 2024 outlook for gas reserves for the upcoming year. Mr. Knight.
All right.
Good morning, Jim Knight, Vice President of Gas Operations. As we were discussing earlier, it's been a very mild start to the winter here and across most of the U.S. It's good news for our gas customers. We're seeing lower consumption as well as quite a bit lower gas prices than last year. So gas prices in December were $3 a decatherm versus $7 the previous year, as well as January is the same deal. We're seeing gas prices around $3 versus last year close to $8. So close to 50–60% decreases in gas prices. That's primarily because we've had mild weather. Also, production is up versus, natural gas production is up versus a year ago. And so that's led to higher natural gas storage levels nationally across the U.S. They are 10% above last year and 10% above the 5-year average. It just calms the market as you go into winter versus last year storage levels weren't as robust going into the winter. And now we've had a mild December, so that just kind of takes the heat off basically as far as, so basically it's all good news so far. As far as weather-wise, December was quite a bit mild. January should be closer to normal. February and March, to be determined. We're kind of right on the border. If you look at long-range forecasts for the winter, the northern third of the country is supposed to be above normal. We're right on that border, so probably a normal type temperatures, but time will tell. Any questions?
Hey, Jim, have we used any LNG so far this winter?
Only for testing.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Testing to make sure it's still good? What do you test?
Testing the equipment.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Doesn't
And we were
go
testing
stale.
and last month we successfully tested the new equipment that has been installed, so.
All right, thank you.
Going well.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim. Appreciate it. Continuing under item number 13, do any board members have any further comments they wish to share?
I do, Mr. New Chairman. I had talked briefly with Mark about this. The coding, when we have water projects and gas projects, we assign them a letter based on whether it's a water project or a gas project. And I'm wondering, and I'm asking actually, if we can add a code when we have a project related to the streetcar project that's going to go against the $7 million we agreed to dedicate toward this project. And that would help us better track this as board members so that when we can look at an item and we know that it's being part of an agreed upon amount. And hopefully that's a doable situation where we can add a code.
Thank you, Director Kavanaugh, Mark Doyle, President. Ironically, it was almost a year ago to the day that Director Friend did an interview on KFAB about this topic. So I don't want to remind you, Director Friend, but I'm sure you remember January of last year. Not to mention we were just coming off of ice jams that disrupted our Florence plant and proved that we have the ability to be resilient and all those things. But that's probably enough history because February through December brought other things. I discussed your question or comments with Masa, and I've asked him to come up and talk about it. Thus far, when we do have a project that's directly streetcar related, and it can be gas and it can be water, for sure, we'll note it, but I think there are ways that we can highlight it better for the board. But I want to assure you that internally, this is a discussion topic for us on everything we do. We want to keep track of that. That was a resolution by this board and a cooperative resolution by this board to say that, yeah, we're going to, some of this work we would have done anyway, but we want to be very careful that we're not changing priorities and doing work that we wouldn't have done otherwise.
And that's not to assume you weren't.
No,
I understand. It was just for our benefit,
But we like that clarity. And former Chairperson Cook, you remember it was not too long after January that we had a few meetings that we participated in as well. And, I like to thank you for your support and your cooperation. That was a difficult time, and we're in a better spot that now we can just assure you and then maybe improve our reporting on that topic. And I'm done rambling, Mr. Nia.
Yeah,
Take it from
we'd
here.
certainly do that, and there's a lot of work ahead. Our engineering team's been busy working with the city engineers, the streetcar team, meeting bi-weekly on that, and certainly can highlight that for the board as work progresses.
And it may actually just involve adding the letter S at the end of the sequence of codes, which alerts us that, hey, this is what we're talking about.
Thank you, Tim, for bringing that up. I think that's really important, and it hadn't occurred to me, but we always like to talk about transparency, and there's a good example.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Masa.
I had one other thing, and it's in the marketing realm. There's a lot in the news about natural gas. Some states want to ban it. Some states want to ban gas appliances. In our marketing campaign, we stress natural gas, which is great. It's rather trivial, but it might send a powerful message if we underline natural. Every time we present natural gas in our marketing realm on our vehicles, underline natural, because it is natural. It's clean, it's efficient, it's safe. But if we underline natural, people get the idea this isn't some thing that we invent and send to people. It's a natural source of fuel. Anyway, it seems rather trivial maybe at this point, but maybe it won't be down the road.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Kavanaugh. Any other directors have any comments they wish to share at this time?
Mr. Begley, Dave Friend here. I just have a quick kind of an underline of Mr. Doyle's clarification. And Mark Doyle, correct me if I'm wrong, or Mark Mendenhall. My understanding is, and always has been, that anything that MUD is doing in terms of upgrading or removing, replacing gas or water line that may be associated with the streetcar is part of our long-range planning. We may have moved it around a little bit in the time frame, but it was something that we were going to do anyway. In other words, we are not digging in the ground and removing or replacing pipe just for the streetcar. Is that correct, Mr. Doyle?
That is correct, Director Friend.
I just wanted to make sure that we underline that, because I think those people who may be watching or get the minutes of our meeting, I don't want to leave anyone with a misunderstanding, so thank you.
Yeah, we've only agreed to the amount we agreed to, and that was based on our risk assessments. You saw that earlier when Adam showed some projects that we did around Q Street and the reason we did them. So we applied the same rationale to this corridor, which is rather large, and said, well, we would have only done this amount, which you approved. Anything above and beyond that, that's not at the expense of the ratepayers. So yeah, thank you for the question, and we're always able and willing to provide more information as we go on.
Anything further from board colleagues? Are there any members of the general public who wish to present a topic to the board today? Seeing none, I will end with, again, a reminder, despite the great weather forecast we had from our own in-house meteorologist, Jim Knight Cantori, the Heat the Streets Walk and Run for Warmth is scheduled for Saturday, March 2nd. Please go to heatthestreets.org to register. Currently, we have 349 people registered, which is great, but we want to keep getting as many people as possible registered for that. Sponsorships are also still available, so we know how fast time goes. March 2nd will be here before we know it, so just a friendly reminder to please register to come out for that incredibly worthy cause.
Jim, location?
Exarban, same place as last year, and the weather's been nice the last couple times. It makes it a little more, well, when the weather's colder, it kind of reinforces why we're out there. So I don't wish bad weather on us, but if it's a chilly day that day, I'm fine with that. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
Sidzik.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Happy New Year, everybody.
No closed session?